Hi everyone. So I'm with Sybil from the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign. Just want to do an explainer as to what this petition is about and some of the discussions around it. So Sybil, can you just give us a bit of your background and your involvement with the Palestinian Solidarity Campaign?
I'm chair of the Tower Hamlets branch of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. And I've been to Palestine many times. I actually lived there as a volunteer for 3 months in 2012 when I retired. I've lived in Tower Hamlets most of my life. I worked in the college and local schools and so on. So since coming back from Palestine the first time, I have dedicated my retirement to campaigning around this issue. We've had lots of events, all sorts of things we've done over the years. We also have a particular link with a town in the north part of Palestine called Jenin, which is why we're also known as the Twin Jenin campaign. And I've taken many visitors, including a number of councillors, over to Palestine to see the reality. And once you've been to Palestine, you can't unsee the brutality of the Israeli occupation. It's an extraordinary experience.
So what's this fuss about? There have been all these newspaper articles, there's Guardian, there's a letter in the Guardian, accusation against the council about the big ride. I was there on the big ride, it was in the church. So what happened? Like, I didn't see any problems.
You didn't see it? No, it was a great event.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, and it was great to have the church hosting it. So what happened was that the big ride, which is a charity bike ride, it's in its fifth year this year. It rides around London, places in the north, all sorts of different things. For this year's ride, which is on the 27th of July, they did a one-day ride around London, and they asked us in Tower Hamlets if we could find a park, and in fact they suggested Alta Valley Park to have the welcome rally. And we thought that's a great idea. This is going to be a good event for Tower Hamlets. It's next to the mosque, and it's a great place where lots of political events have happened over the years. So we went through the process of applying to the borough to have the park, and it's a great long form, and it goes on and on and on. But anyway, we did it, submitted it in March, and a couple of days later they wrote back and said, no, you can't have Alta Valley Park because some landscaping issues or something. And I said, okay, well, maybe that's right. Let's have a different park. So we then asked them if we could have a different park. And we made various suggestions. And they umd-and-ahed, as far as I was concerned, they umd-and-ahed on the email. I phoned them up a couple of times. And then eventually they said, no, you can't. You can't use any Tower Hamlets parks. So I thought, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, we went ahead and found the church. And the event went ahead, and it was all absolutely fine. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, PSC head office got some freedom of information. We did the freedom of information requests, which are now in the public domain, the email chain, in which it transpired that the council officers who were dealing with this were suspicious that the bike ride might be in some way anti-Semitic. So they went onto the Big Ride's website and discovered that the charity which the Big Ride supports in Gaza, there's a doctor there called Dr. Mona, and she talks absolutely rightly about the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. She talks about the equivalence, she talks about Israeli apartheid and the equivalence with the South African apartheid, all of these things which are absolutely, completely defensible and completely correct statements, and in no way are they anti-Semitic. The problem with the council is that last year it adopted the highly contentious IHRA, International Holocaust Remembrance Association, definition of anti-Semitism, which is contentious and flawed and open to all sorts of different interpretations. The officers interpreted it in such a way as to suggest that any criticism of Israel is potentially anti-Semitic. Now, we absolutely refute that.
So I want to come on to that. When you mean by apartheid Israeli state, you're talking about the specific laws that they have to discriminate mainly against Arabs, etc. Can you sort of, like, for our viewers, give an example
of apartheid,
of a specific law or a specific act by the state?
Well,
that discriminates against people.
Okay, so there are different ways of looking at this. The main point about Israel is that it occupies the whole of Palestine. Now, Palestinians who are under Israeli military rule, they're under Israeli military law, Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza have absolutely no rights whatsoever. They're under military rule, their children are arrested in the middle of the night and slung into jail in the settlements. Israelis who live in the West Bank, in the settlements, which are illegal under international law, are subject to a completely different set of laws. They have lots of rights. They have the right to vote, they have water, they have gardens, they have transport, they have roads which are Israeli only. So there is a whole myriad of different ways in which the Israeli state is apartheid. And that's before you even look at the status of Palestinians who live inside Israel, because they are discriminated against in a different set of ways.
Yeah. Now, what's the difference between the IHRA was, so I'm a Labour Party member, a Labour councillor. The IHRA was adopted by the Labour Party NEC. Is there a difference between the IHRA version adopted by the National Labour Party and the one adopted by Tower Hamlets Council?
There is a small difference. The National Labour Party, as I understand it, the National Labour Party one did include a small caveat. Now, the caveat is designed to protect people from accusations of anti-Semitism if they criticise the Israeli state. We, as Tower Hamlets PSC, asked Tower Hamlets Council to adopt a caveat last November when we had a big lobby and a petition, and they refused. So the version that Tower Hamlets has adopted has no safeguarding at all for freedom of speech on Palestine.
Which is different from the
National Labour Party. Yes, which is different from the National Labour Party.
And you're saying because of that, that difference is the officers interpreted the big ride in a way, and if those caveats were there, then they wouldn't
have been able to. No. Yeah. So when we lobbied the council last autumn, and it wasn't just in Tower Hamlets, it was in a whole range of different councils, what we said was that the effect of adopting the IHRA without a caveat would have a chilling effect on campaigning for Palestine. We were assured by the mayor and by councillors in the council chamber, Councillor Islam and maybe another one, that our activities would not be affected. And I was told by Siraj and by John Biggs that they had greatest respect for the campaigning work that we do for Palestine in the borough. But unfortunately, our predictions came true. Officers looked at the definition and decided off their own bats. It went quite high up in the council, but it was an officer's decision that the big ride was in some way possibly anti-Semitic and possibly controversial. They also, and this is really quite shocking, they also we gave them the names of potential speakers, including Kamal Hawash, who is the chair of PSC, he's a Palestinian, Mark Thomas, who actually spoke at the rally, is a comedian. Yeah. He's great. Yeah. And a number of other names, and they actually sent those names to the police to get them investigated for extremism. Now, this is really appalling behaviour by the council officers. We have asked for an explanation, an inquiry, an apology, and a meeting with the mayor, and we are not going to stop until we get that.
So tell me about this petition. So obviously there's a petition out there, there's a video with that petition asking people to sign it. So can you talk through the petition, what it's asking, and how people would help?
Yeah, how people help. Yeah. Okay, so what the petition basically does is it asks the council to adopt a caveat or a safeguarding clause. And I'm not going to quote it, but the link will be below. Yeah. But essentially what this safeguarding clause does, or it's a series of clauses, is to say it is not anti-Semitic without further evidence to criticise the state of Israel, the actions of the state of Israel, to call for boycott, divestment and sanctions against Israel, or to call Israel a racist or an apartheid state. So in other words, to be anti-Semitic, what you actually need, what you need is to make anti-Jewish statements. So we're not anti-Semitic, we're not anti-Jewish. We criticise the state of Israel for its actions, and we have on our side many prominent Jewish individuals. The Big Ride rally in the church a couple of weeks ago had a speaker from Jewish Voice for Labour who made a very powerful statement, which is you do not conflate Jews with Israel, because lots of Jews are opposed to the actions of Israel.
Okay, cool.
So we're asking, actually, what we're asking is first of all for you to sign the petition if you live, work or study in Tower Hamlets, but also actually to help us by going around places with copies of the petition and getting people to sign.
So there's going to be a paper.
There's a paper version of it,
version, yeah.
which you can
and
print
so
off
people could get in touch with
Get-
PSC to
get copies. I can email it to you. You can print it off.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to get it back to us at some point.
Yeah. What's the deadline on that?
Oh, the deadline is going to be about the 25th of October. We need to get it into council before the end of October. So I would like to have.
So we need about 2,000 signatures. That's very easy, guys. 2,000.
Yep.
We're in Tower Hamlets. I think that's. I think that's a few mosques. I think, but
I think it's a few mosques. And
a few churches. So and a few parks as well. Fun fairs. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So
The other
after
thing-
that, what happens after
Right.
that?
What happens after that? Well, we will be having an event in early November to talk about the petition and how things have developed, which we will be inviting you all to. Do another one of these for that. Then on the 14th of November is the full council meeting. We'll be presenting the petition then. If we get 2,000 signatures, the councillors will have to debate it. If we don't, then we'll still get a chance to talk. And we hope very much that by then the council, the Labour group and the mayor will have realised that they made a very serious error by not adopting some sort of safeguarding for Palestine campaigning.
Because the other thing is, I've read the petition and it's asking for one more. There's a free speech, one more thing, which is recognising Palestine.
Yes.
Can you just explain about that?
So that's we're also asking for recognition of the state of Palestine. Now, this is something which councils around the country are doing, Labour councils in particular, and it's in a way it's a bit symbolic. But what it's saying is that and this is Labour Party national policy, and it will happen if Labour gets into power in the hopefully soon forthcoming general election. It will happen. So we're asking the council to, get a bit ahead of itself and say, yes, we recognise the existence of the state of Palestine.
So Sheffield Council was the first one.
Was the first one to do that. But, however, there are lots of councils around the country which have recognised, which have got twinning links with different towns, different cities. I mean, the most recent one, Oxford and Ramallah, twinning link. Dundee with Nablus, that goes back to the 1980s. There are dozens of them. So lots of Labour councils have adopted Palestinian cities. So it's not actually particularly controversial. It's a logical next step. And we have been arguing for years that Tower Hamlets, because of its historic links with Jenin, we've had people from Jenin come over, they've met the mayor, they've met the previous mayor, they've met all sorts of people, that we need to formalise that link. So recognising the state of Palestine is a first step in that direction.
Cool. So that's you know what to do, guys. There's a petition out there linked with this video, and let's get 2,000 signatures. Let's go down to the council. Let's make history. Let's sort this free speech issue out so we can, all of us, campaign for the dignity of the Palestinian people, because it's not a political issue, it's a human rights issue, universal human rights. Second thing is, let's get Palestine recognised and let's put Tower Hamlets on the map, and let's do what we've always done, being at the forefront for the struggle of equality and dignity. I just want to thank Sybil for spending time explaining the issues, and let's get out there and hopefully let's see you all in November. I'll be in there, but with you in the chamber, and let's put Free Palestine on the map in Tower Hamlets. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Puru.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers.